fantastic. Yeah. And that brings me, you've touched on so many things. You've touched on making a decision. You've touched on, having a plan. And you've also brought about a really big topic that brings us into comfort and, conformity. And so what I'm hearing from you is, as we stretch across life and life passes us by, what does that really mean? That can mean different things to different people. And when we're creating our abundance, when we're creating our reality, when we're creating the space so that we can move into our higher identity and into that wealthy, abundant lifestyle and decisions, where has the time gone by? And I hear from a lot of people, they're like, oh my goodness, 10 years went by, 20 years went by. And in making those decisions, did we decide to stay in comfort or did we decide to be uncomfortable? Really look in the mirror, really write out what we want. And did we stay responsible to that? Did we make the hard choices? Did we not so much sacrifice, but did we delay the gratification from right now so that we could enjoy maybe in a year or two? Or did we choose to continue to take that choice of comfort? And it was incredible because I had a conversation with someone and they were talking about it wasn't, the big decisions matter, but so do the little ones. And it's the little ones that you silently make that maybe nobody other than you knows. And those are the ones that may not show up a week from now, a month from now, but a year from now, you are definitely going to see the fruits of your results of the choices that you've made. And yes, we're all big on making a plan, but in the knowing doing gap of where we're going and the decisions that we're making, I find that we need to also look at the decisions that we're not making. And those are the ones that really creep up. And when somebody says, you know what, I'll just skip going to the gym today, or I'll just skip that savings plan today, or I'll skip that plan that I wanted to buy that house today. It's okay. The $20 isn't going to matter. That $100, I'll just take that $2,000 vacation. It's not going to matter. It's no big deal. It might not be a big deal today, but further on down the road and your self-esteem, what are you actually sacrificing? Finances are such a big component of our lives, but so is our identity, and so is our self-esteem, and so is the impact on ourselves. And every time we negotiate with ourselves and we say, oh no, I'll do it later, or I'll start putting that money aside later, or I'll start doing this, or it's okay for right now, and you've got, your community that maybe you're associating with, and they're like, oh no, it's no big deal, just do it next week. Next week comes and you're right back, you're negotiating with yourself, you're like, oh no, okay, I'll do it the following week. The following week comes, you haven't followed through. And the price you're paying for not following through to yourself is one of the biggest things that we sacrifice. And when we're building our identity and we're talking about going from, the different ages that we go through in life and the decisions that we make over the course of our lives, when you start negotiating with yourself and you continue to choose comfort over discomfort or delay in order to feel that satisfaction and to grow as a person, and sometimes have those difficult conversations with yourself about how you're dealing with your wealth, how you're looking at abundance, how you're looking at work or what you do. Are you incorporating your lifestyle into your work, or are you at a job that you just hate and you don't like going to? Are you just going because that's the status quo? That's what everybody does. That's what your friends do. But is that what you really want to do? And so I think as we're moving and we're progressing and we're growing, yes, these big conversations are important, but we also need to look at what we're sacrificing to our own identity. And when we want these big quantum leaps, and when we want to really grow into abundance, and when we want to have the wealth, which gives us the choices and the opportunities, because we're not just staying in survival, We have the financial abundance in order to do what we want, in order to make different choices so that we're not in that, oh, I've got to stay in this job because I'm in survival. You know, maybe it was those 5 years of those little decisions that, maybe you could have made different ones. The whole world didn't know that you skipped your workout. The whole world didn't know that you had, you could have put money aside, but you chose not to, but you're going to know. And, the identity of a wealthy, abundant person is somebody who makes a firm decision and then they follow through. They don't negotiate. They don't go, oh, I'll do it later. Or when you're waking up in the morning and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to get up early. This is what I'm going to do. And then you hit the snooze button. That's negotiating. You're negotiating with yourself. And those little decisions will start negotiating into the big ones, the big ones that can really, really matter quickly. And you're going to see them right away. So those are excellent, excellent points. I'm really glad that you brought them up. Yeah, that's a really good point, and it brings it into faith. And we're not talking about religion, but we're talking about faith and faith in yourself, faith in your decisions, faith in your choices, faith in the universe that you know that you will always be provided for and that everything is working out for you no matter what you do. Even if it's uncomfortable, you know that you're moving and you're growing. And every time we choose to grow in our finances as well as in our own personal development, it's usually not it's easy, it's simple, but it's very uncomfortable because we are creatures of habit and growth makes us stretch. Making financial goals makes us stretch, and stretching is discomfort. Just like when you go to the gym and you first start exercising, you don't feel great the next day.
No,
You don't
it
feel
hurts.
fantastic. Your muscles hurt. You're sore. You got ice packs, heat packs. You're like, oh my gosh. It's the same thing with growth. And we just need to remind ourselves that it's, yes, we're moving towards getting a desired result, but what kind of person are you becoming along the way? And that comes back to your decisions and your choices and your beliefs. So when we persist, persistence, as Napoleon Hill says, persistence is just another word for faith. If we didn't have faith, we would never persist.
Right.
It's exactly the same thing. So when you're choosing to make these decisions and you're allocating and you're stretching yourself, you're growing to become that person that's going to be comfortable with where you're wanting to go. So you do have that ease. So you do have the financial wealth and abundance of that person that's going to have no issues in becoming. And our identity and our beliefs and our faith, they're so intertwined. Financial beliefs are, a lot of families don't talk about it. I've talked to a lot of people, they didn't grow up talking about money. Money was not a comfortable topic. It was something that you discussed quietly in the bedroom behind closed doors where nobody else could hear what's going on. And, what we need to do to break that cycle is start talking about money. Money is not a boogeyman in the closet unless you make it. And so when we're building that identity, what kind of beliefs, what kind of thoughts do you have around money? Do you love money, or do you think just rich people are bad? Or all those rich people, they're not doing enough. So, or do you believe that it's better to be poor and give all your money away? And so, financial decisions and financial planning, a lot of it has to do, it is an emotional decision, and it's emotional because it comes down to our beliefs. What are your beliefs around money? I remember I was talking to an incredible woman. She was building a multi-million dollar business. And she said the biggest thing that set her off in her journey to abundance and wealth, she sat down and she wrote a letter to herself about money. And once she had poured out her whole heart, she started to see where those beliefs were and where her lack of awareness and where the blocks were that were holding her back to getting to where she wanted to go. And after she had poured her heart out and cried and gone through all these big feelings, that letter was her roadmap and the most important piece of information that she wasn't aware of about herself that was, getting in the way. And once she had cleared out and became aware of those old beliefs, she was like, loved them, said thank you, and she was able to move forward, and she built a multi-million-dollar company. And so it's so incredibly powerful as we build our awareness and as we grow into that abundant identity, that we're using that to propel us and start feeling comfortable and start being empowered about the financial decisions that we're making.